We are now recording.
Good evening, everyone. It's my honor to call this November regularly scheduled council meeting to order. Before I have Reverend Allen come up for the invocation, I do love to see the seats full. So welcome, everyone, and I hope that whatever it is you were seeking tonight, that you receive it. Dr. Allen, lead us in prayer.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's bow our heads in prayer, please. Our eternal God, we thank you for your gracious mercies and protective care for all who are gathered here tonight at this Blackstone Town meeting. My prayer is for all of those who are under the sound of my voice. As we approach our calendar season of Thanksgiving in America, help us to remember that we should thank you, God, each day throughout the year, regardless of whether our days are successful or not. For the Apostle Paul taught we are to give thanks in all things, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus. I ask the Holy Spirit to come again into this meeting and squash any unfavorable attitudes, unpleasant responses, or unnecessary debates that might hinder any decisions which are intended to improve this community. I beseech you, Lord, please continue leading these town council members to focus on the welfare of Blackstone, its citizens and visitors, rather than wasting time on foolish agendas merely for personal gain. I pray that each member be accountable to those whom they serve. Help them to legislate without error as they govern with fairness and respect for all. This is our prayer, Lord Jesus, for the sake of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray, amen.
Amen. For those that are able to stand, please join me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members of council, you have before you our agenda this evening. I have no changes. However, I will be having a delegation from DBI come forward as our first visitor. Council, is there any additions that you'd like to make to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve it.
Ms. Nguyen has moved and President Nash is second. Any discussion?
That's with the change.
If you want to call that a change. Ms. Nguyen has moved and Council President Nash is second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. First item of business tonight, we have two public hearings scheduled for this evening. The first is for council to consider adopting a blight ordinance for 100 Maven Avenue. Mr. Manager, would you please brief the council?
This piece of property is at the intersection of Nottoway Avenue and Maven Avenue. We began the process of discussing making repairs to the property, and that the town manager had declared it, the staff had declared it blighted. We've had some discussions with the individual, and those discussions have ceased. They haven't made any repairs. They have not been returning our calls, nor responding to our requests. And the next step in the process is to hold a public hearing and have the town council declare the property actually blighted. It's not the worst one in town. I don't know if it's a demo, but it's obviously meets the conditions of exposed structural components in the back and the front of the building. It's 100 Maben Avenue, and it's in the name of Ewa Siska. And I'm asking, after the public hearing, if the town council would consider declaring that property blighted.
Members of council, at this time, before I open the public hearing, would you have any questions for the manager or for staff? Hearing none, at this time, I open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come to the podium and speak for or against this blight ordinance? Hearing none, I now close the public hearing. Is there any comments from members of council?
Is it an occupied home?
Pardon?
Is it an occupied home?
No. Unoccupied. And if you pay attention on Maben Avenue, there's several unoccupied homes on Maben Avenue as well.
Any other questions? Mr. Manager, has the council met its obligations to consider this ordinance through advertising?
We have advertising.
May I have a motion?
I move that we formally declare the structure at 100 Maven Avenue blighted.
Second.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Almond has properly second to consider 100 Maven Avenue as a blight. Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call, beginning with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Madam Clerk, this carries 7-0. Second public hearing is for council to consider adopting a blight ordinance for 819 Fall Street. Mr. Manager, please brief the council.
819 Fall Street was originally condemned by the Nottaway County building official, prior to our current Nick Bowles, I can't remember his name, the gentleman that was there before him, had actually condemned the property some time ago. The floors are gone in it, and you can see from the pictures associated with it. We did not take action on it because the property was being sold, or in the process of being sold. The property has been sold, and the new owners were notified in September that the condition of the home is blighted, and we have heard no response from the owner of the property. No response as far as a phone call, and no response as far as them picking up the certified letter. So in order to move the process along, as we don't have a property owner to work with and discuss, we sent out 3 blight notices to 3 different homes. 2 of the property owners that contacted us, we have received no contact. But before we can take this any further in the legal process, obviously, they would have to be served, they got to be located, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be working with Julian if the council, after the public hearing, chooses to declare the property blighted.
I got a question. Who was the previous owner of that property?
I don't want to blurt a name out and be wrong, but
Okay.
I can find out for you.
But that's the one that we was dealing with last year at this time too, I think.
This thing's
think
been
so.
vacant for
This-
years.
I think this is a little bit more recent,
Right, but
No, a little recent. yeah.
it's under new ownership.
new ownership,
And we've been trying for, well, today makes 2 months.
2 months.
I mean, we've given other property owners longer than that. And I know it's been vacant for a long time, but personally, when you have a new ownership, I understand we're having difficulty reaching them. But I wish we'd try a little longer and come back and see this in another day. Try a little bit more.
Your decision.
What
Well,
does the
before we can do
what does
anything-
the ordinance say? What does the ordinance say?
It says you give them 30 days and proceed on if you haven't heard anything from them. It doesn't say try harder, but I get it.
But I get it. I mean, people buy properties for a reason. This looks to be like somebody's looking to, it says affordable remodeling is the owner, is that right?
Any other
Affordable
questions?
Remodeling,
Affordable
LC
remodeling.
is the owner, yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you made your point clear, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is there any other questions, council? At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come forward to speak for or against council blighting 819 Fall Street? Hearing none, at this time, I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Manager, has council completed the necessary steps to adopt this ordinance?
We have.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Are you moving to blight this property? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Gormas is moving.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask one question? Hey, Philip, do we know they received this letter?
We do not have any record they've received anything. No, we do not have record from the certified card coming back to us. We haven't heard anything from them.
No, you sent it by certified mail,
We did.
but the card has not come back.
Card has not come back. We sent it in middle September, if the letter's correct.
And
Yep.
in the packet, I printed the most recent, that USPS shows it was back in September. And so it doesn't show it was over delivered or anything, so.
But I think my experience with these that we've gone through, before any legal proceedings can go on, they have to be served, and they'd have to be found, but we haven't heard anything back from them at all. Not a phone call, not a response, not anything.
I don't,
think technically you can declare it blighted, but it doesn't make me feel great, the fact that we know they haven't received the notice we sent. I mean, we know.
Well, we
I
don't,
would feel better about it if we got the certified card back. But, I mean, do we have any other means of finding the owner?
You can hear me.
Ultimately, I guess we would have to use a service, a delivery service, in order to deliver a warrant or whatever summons for the matter. That's how we usually go about it once we begin the legal process of pressing the matter. Now, anytime they contact us, we'll halt the clock and we give them, typically like we did with the other property owners who did communicate with us, we give them 30 days to let us know what ultimately their plan is, and then another 30 days to remedy the situation. This house is way far gone. This is in bad shape. This is probably the worst of the three.
I don't think I've ever voted against a blight, but this guy just bought the property 2 months ago. I mean.
No. We sent them a letter 2 months ago.
We sent a letter 2
They
months.
purchased it well before that.
So it's been some time.
I can't give you an exact date, but no, we sent the blight letter in September as a response to a letter I received from a resident on Fall Street complaining about these structures.
Julian, before I go any further, Mr. Harf, seems like we've done twice our due diligence. I mean, are you okay to proceed?
Yeah, I'm okay to proceed.
Council, Mr. Gorman has moved and Mr. Harmon is properly second to declare 819 Fall Street blighted. Is there any discussion? Ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
This motion carries 6-1. Members of council, you have before you the minutes from our regularly scheduled council meeting on October the 21st. What is council's pleasure?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as read, subject to correction.
Second.
And dispense with the reading.
Dispense of the reading.
Mr. Miller has moved to approve the minutes as presented and dispense reading, and Ms. Nguyen has seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple questions. On page 35 of 302, Ms. Lisa Kelly's utility board decision, do we have that?
Are you in the minutes?
From 1021?
Okay, page,
They're meeting the second week of December, I think is what we're planning.
Second week in December.
So what now?
That's the plan.
page 35?
Page 35 of 302.
Oh,
It's 302
Do you
pages.
see what page of the minutes it is?
No, but you're on
It's page 9 of
27
the,
of 302.
Page
right?
9,
So if you go
It's
to
what?
page 9.
page 9 of the, what's written on the minutes, page 35 of the PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, 35.
Is it warrant, I'm sorry,
It was
is this,
supposed to go to the utility board for a
Okay.
decision, and I just wondering how that turned out.
okay, but the minutes don't need to be amended. It's a great question, but the minutes are correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you agree with that?
And Mr.
So if I have
Lawrence-
questions about what was in the
Absolutely,
minutes,
it's fine, but I don't need to amend the minutes, is what I'm saying.
at this point, I'd say.
Okay.
If you-
Mr. Gormas, I did reach out to the two firms, board members, and they both agreed today, and it's going to be December 9th.
Okay. And no amendment here either, but a question on 44 of 302 of the PDF.
What's the bottom, the number on the bottom?
44.
44 of 302.
Oh, I'm sorry, 34.
On the electronic PDF.
I'm not doing
It would be 18.
Thank you.
Grant match for parking lot at Armory, $211,400. And you said you have advised the council at this meeting as to where it would be coming from? Okay.
Is it, that's an
I'm
agenda item, isn't it?
Pardon?
Is that an agenda item?
I think there's a discussion about the parking lot on the agenda, but if you want to talk about it now, we can.
I'm just wondering where that is coming from. You can just tell me that now. We can talk about the rest of it later if you want to.
The majority of it, if not all of it, will come from interest earnings off of CDs and treasury units.
Okay. Interest on earnings. All right. And the last thing was the $117,000 from FEMA. What is the status of that? And
We've been notified that they've cleared $33,000, so we should be expecting a check for $33,000 or an e-notification at any time. There are 4 actual projects that have to be paid, the largest being $57,000. And we have been told it's been closed, but we haven't gotten notification of the date when that will be released.
Correct.
So the $33,000 is the only one that we had. Expectations, that would be the.
So 33 of the 117 is on its way? And the rest is
Approved, but not on the way.
FEMA approved, but not on the way yet?
Correct.
That's all I have for questions.
Well, it's good questions.
Thank you.
We need to thank someone for that?
I'm not done yet.
It's not.
I can tell you that we reached out to Spanberger's office and Congresswoman Spanberger, or Congresswoman Spanberger, District 5, I think she's in
Yeah.
Congressional District 5. Her staff, I don't know if it ever got up the food chain that far, but her staff did help us. And,
Just so
made
people
contact
know,
with
we're
us.
talking about ice storm money that we're waiting to get
2021.
recouped.
Yeah, we put out our own money out of the town budget that was originally supposed to be reimbursed by FEMA, and we still hadn't gotten paid, so it sounds like
You said
maybe
you had,
Spanberger's office.
you said
gave
you
some
had
name
3
there.
bills to pay out of that?
No, everything's paid. So
Okay.
this would just be straight reimbursement to the town. So we've paid for everything. We paid for the contractors that come from the town of Wakefield and Tarboro and other places, if you remember Electric Crews came.
That was 4 years ago come February, right?
Yeah, I mean, 4 years in February. Yeah. So we had been paid, our total claims were almost $1 million, and they had paid off everything except $117,000 to point. And it's been about a year, and it kind of gone quiet. Alex and I have gone back and forth, and finally I called Spanberger's office, filled out an assistance request form, and we got an immediate phone call or contact back from not only Congresswoman Spanberger's staff, but also from FEMA, and they said, oh yes, we needed some addition. They wanted meals receipts when those crews from Tarboro, or from Wakefield, North Carolina came up here and worked. And luckily, and Alex diligently got with the town of Wakefield and got those receipts there. And so we turned them
Good job.
Thank you.
Members of council, you know, we just had an election and we're gonna have a new representative in our district, and I've got on my calendar to contact Representative McGuire if we don't see this moving along at a better clip. But I kind of think there's maybe you're gonna see money come in three different circumstances. It's not gonna come at once, isn't that right? Is it like three times, is that right?
It's 4 different projects.
Four.
It's four.
Four.
It's 4.
Okay.
And the last one, the closeout, the last one's like 4,000, 33,000, 57,000, when we do the math, what the difference is. It's the 4.
It's a great question. I'll stay on top of it and I'll report next month where we stand, okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions or additions? As always, Madam Clerk, they're very well done. We have a motion from Mr. Miller and a properly second from Ms. Nguyen. I ask for a voice vote. All those in favor to approve, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Next up is visitors. The DBI delegation, will you please come forward? Full disclosure, everyone, I know this pretty lady right here. Pull that down so we can hear you, Madam First Lady.
Okay. The better? Okay. Just as a refresher, Groversity is a program that started as an idea for the town and DBI to apply for a grant. We applied for the grant in '23 and were awarded a $50,000 grant. It was a resurgence grant from DHCD and Virginia Main Street, and it was for an area that was affected by COVID. So the money had to go back towards an area that was affected from the COVID virus and what that happened. So the town applied for the grant, and you had a $10,000 match. You had all approved to give $5,000 in cash and $5,000 in kind. So we had a budget of $60,000. So we worked to put this program together, starting at the beginning of this year in 2024. And it started in September, and I'm not going to read all this, but we had 7 weeks of classes. This was established for businesses to help them grow their existing businesses. And we had a 7-week program, and the last night, they did a pitch to receive some grant money. Initially, we had 13 local businesses registered for the program. Some were from within the district and some were outside. We had 6 businesses completing the program with the requirements were eligible for the grant funds. And so last week, they all gave their pitches. We had a panel of 5 judges that composed of town officials and DBI officials, and we had $45,000 to give out in grants to these local businesses. And so we have most of our grant recipients up here tonight, and so I'm happy to report that Acapulco's restaurant received $11,000, Blackstone Counseling and Behavioral Health received $6,000, Blackstone Emporium received $9,500, Tada, the bakery, received $9,000. The Cornhole Crib received $5,500. And we have one business that has a contingency because they have had a different circumstance. So we're working on that. And then we had some other businesses that were not eligible that still went through the program and learned a whole lot. Green Automotive being one. And we had Blackstone Copros Ranch and Ward and Robertson Landscaping and Lawn Care. So I'm so excited that we were able to put this program together with grant money and the town's help. Chastity did a phenomenal job working on this program with me, and here are some of our recipients.
And I believe this was a 10-week program,
It was 8 weeks,
8 weeks.
including the pitch night.
including the pitch, and it was 3 hours or 2 hours?
2 hours
It was
from
a
6 to
tremendous
8.
investment, is my point. I'm getting to it. I'm a little slow, but it was tremendous sacrifice of their time and their effort, and I was fortunate enough to be with them earlier this evening, and everyone seemed to benefit from this greatly. And these things are what makes us a better town. So congratulations to y'all. Thank you, Ms. Bryant, and I'd like to give them a round of applause. I still want my free taco.
Did y'all have any questions?
No, thank you so much, Field, for the time you put into it and really spearheading. Thank you, Chastity, for your time, and then also thank you, Eric, for stepping in when I was sick to do a little judging. Most of all, thank you all as small business owners stepping up and putting in the extra effort and really making Blackstone what it is.
I have a question. Will y'all be having a second class, or?
DBI would like to continue the program, absolutely. We don't have any, this much funding, but we want to figure it out and work towards that for next year.
Any other questions, council? Well,
Great program, congratulations.
good job.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Dr. Bradshaw, when you can make it up, you're on deck. Members of council, our first visitor tonight is Dr. Leroy Bradshaw. He's representing the Blackstone Ministerial Association, and he has a banner request. You have that in your package. He's brought the real deal as his prop, but you do have a rendering in your package. Dr. Bradshaw, do you have any comments?
You don't
I'm
need to
saying it's
enroll
up on
them.
the screen, you didn't need to.
Yeah, please don't unroll that thing. We'll never get out of here.
This is the banner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who did I give that to, Jennifer?
Well, let's see what they say first.
Okay.
Spot.
The Blackstone Ministerial Association, I don't know if many even know we exist, but we've been around since the 70s, okay? And this is composed of the ministers around Blackstone. In and of, we do, they don't all have time to come to the meetings, but all the ministers are welcome, even if their churches may be outside of town, but they live here. And so one of the things we have had a problem with in the past is having a Thanksgiving service. We have had them in the town square. We've had them in Sea Park. Last year was probably the worst one we've ever had because the only ones that showed up were the ministers and their wives. And unfortunately, that was a very bitter, cold day, windy. So this time we wanted to move somehow indoors. A problem with moving indoors is nobody in the community sees us. and so people don't know about it until they show up or ride by and they say, oh, I forgot that. So this year we tried to do something to build a little bit of interest in the community. It is purely a community Thanksgiving service. It's open to all in the town. We invite the town council. We invite the police if they want to come. We invite the fire department, and we're inviting, all the community services. And this is purely to have a Thanksgiving. So the worship service is going to be on Tuesday, November the 26th, as the copy of this is up on the screen. It'll be at 5:30. It's at Blackstone Baptist Church, which is right across from the post office. They invited us, and not only did we had planned on just having the worship service or the community service, as we've done in the past, but they wanted to feed people. So we're asking those who want to contribute can bring food, but the ladies of Blackstone Baptist are going to make sure we have enough food. At 5:30, and then following that, we are going to have the service. It's not a long service. We are going to have a message. We're going to have some scripture. We're going to have some praying. We have a couple of songs, and then that's it. It's going to be short and easy. And so the purpose of the banner, of me coming and asking the town about having a banner, and the picture of it is up there. This is the banner. We bought the banner so that you can put it up. We would like to ask for you to put it up this Thursday. And then the 26th is next Tuesday evening.
Council, you have any questions for Dr. Bradshaw? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Gorman is made a motion to approve. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Any discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. So if you'll leave this with the town manager, we'll have it properly hung for you.
You want it Thursday?
Good.
Okay, all right.
That would give enough time for people riding by to see.
Yes, exactly.
We can put it up sooner.
Let's get it right on up, okay? That's what I was going to suggest. At your earliest convenience, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Dr. Bradshaw.
Captain Forrester. Members of council, Captain Forrester from the fire department is here to talk about holiday meal giveaway.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Love to see you all again, second time today. Coming to you all this evening with a little bit of a odd request, a little bit of context for you. The last 3 years, the fire department has received donations. A lot of the donations are from within, from our own members, but to conduct a holiday meal giveaway to families in the area that are in need during, typically it's been during Thanksgiving. And we've been very successful for 3 years. Last year, we were able to provide a meal for 27 families. However, upon speaking with some of the recipients, we did find some issues, whether that be electric or the ability to cook the food that was provided, because we gave them a pack that they'd be able to cook. So this year, we'd like to do something different and give us enough time to plan. This year, Blackstone Volunteer Fire Department would like to host a drive-through holiday meal giveaway on Sunday, December 22nd at Blackstone Volunteer Fire Department. So, of course, we're already planning on this, and that's going to take some donations. We're hoping and anticipating to feed approximately 500 individuals, hoping to touch approximately 300 families if we are able to. As a part of this, we've received some donations from other entities in the community and other organizations as well. But I would like to request this evening that during the first week of December, Blackstone Fire Department be able to have no more than 2 food trucks, no earlier than 7 a.m., no later than 7 p.m., to host a fundraiser with the funds specifically going towards this event. We're anticipating the need of no more than $1,000 to assist with what we currently have. So the fundraiser will be going to that, and anything else that we would need would be coming from other organizations, hopefully, or other individuals in the community. Of course, this is pending the availability of different partners in the area, and we do hope that this will provide. We've got great options in town. We've got great supporters, but something different to hopefully raise some funds for this event.
Members of council, do you have any questions? Manager Van Orbit?
I think there are 2 points, and so I understand. Are these 2 food trucks going to be donating food to people?
So, great question. So they would be selling the food to whoever, community members, anybody, and donating the funds to the fire department, and with the funds specifically for this event.
So as I see it, there are 2 waivers, or 2 things that you would have to agree to. One is allowing food trucks on town-owned property, and the second one was meals tax. And you got to deal with your waiving meals tax, or they got to pay the meals tax and that kind of thing. Food trucks are also, and I'm complicating a probably a very simple process, but you also have a business license, an itinerant merchant license that they're supposed to give, which is $500.
Okay.
Pardon?
Unless they have a business license.
Unless they have a business license in another location.
What was it, 2-year deal?
Yeah, if you have one in another location, you get 2 years free before you have to get it. Those are the kinds of things, just because I've sat here long
Yes, sir.
enough.
Yeah.
Have to ask council to work with you.
So there's 3 items. Consideration of the itinerant merchant meals tax, and then authorization.
To set up on town-owned property.
Members of council, you've heard this situation here. I'll open the floor for any discussion.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that the food trucks are going to donate, they're going to donate 100% of what they sold to you guys, or 50/50?
From what I understand, currently it'd be 100%.
Oh, excellent.
You're going to use that to feed people on the 22nd of December, right?
Yes, sir. All funds raised will be used to purchase any items associated with that specific event.
I would urge council to figure out a way to do this.
Yeah,
I'd like to-
honestly,
Most definitely.
do we have to limit them to 2 trucks? I mean, if they could get 4 trucks that wanted to do it, I mean, would it not be okay as long as they follow the rules?
Was just trying to be on the conservative side,
Yeah,
and
I'm just saying, the more you can get, the better.
Well,
I,
council speaks through its motions, so whenever you're ready.
500, and that's all, you're not gonna try to do more?
If we're able to do more based on our funding, then and any other donations, we absolutely would want to do more.
500 is a lot.
And if the
Yes,
fire
sir.
department is a nonprofit, can they use, if they're hosting
Well,
this, can
that's
they use that
the
to
question. If
waive
they're
the meals tax?
selling, I don't think necessarily that qualifies for stuff like selling stew, and where you get 4 times a year for nonprofit organizations can do that. Maybe a Julian question, because this is kind of
Wait, 3.
funneling it through a private, huh?
We're at 3.
It may be a Julian question, but a nonprofit like the Ruritan Club or the Ministerial Association group like that, logically would, by code, do receive 4 events a year where meals tax is not obligatory.
For the spirit of this and everything,
I
I
think
think it fits with the spirit. And
My question,
Could
Mr.
we
Hall,
waive some of this?
I'm gonna waive it all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
is there any problem with waiving all of it?
So for meals tax, I'm looking at the code section right now. It looks, this is the local code section, it looks like for food and beverages sold on an occasional basis by a nonprofit, educational, charitable, or benevolent, by a nonprofit, educational, charitable, or benevolent organization, church or religious body. That's what's specifically provided for in the town code in terms of what can be excluded from meals tax. Obviously, it sounds like we're not talking about a nonprofit, educational, charitable, benevolent organization. transaction. Is that, I'm correct in that?
I don't think we're looking for a way to do it within the parameters of the code. Are we permitted, or is this council permitted to waive?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we can waive it unless we fall into these categories.
Waive what?
We can go easy and say, hey, it still gets charged, but then we as a town council make a donation or whatever that percentage was back to the.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So are you agreeable to that, Mr. Harf?
Okay, so, and Fred and I have actually been getting this recently with a different member. So we, if the food truck organization itself is a private, for-profit company, we cannot make a donation to that entity. What localities typically do in that situation is they run it through the EDA or IDA, which I understand is kind of in flux and may not even be.
I think what he's talking about.
Turn your mic.
I think what he's talking about, Julian, is the food truck company will give us the number and we'll make that donation to the fire department, which is a 501c3.
Yeah.
Perfect, we can do that. Yep, let's do that.
All right.
Thank you.
So we can, how about the itinerant merchant? What do we do about that?
If they have a license elsewhere, they don't have to get one here. We learned that when Mr. Johnson's truck demo.
And
Would council be agreeable?
I want to get this proof first.
I don't personally, I think we shouldn't waive that portion because hopefully most of them are going to have it from somewhere else because of the fact that Philip has preached this to me before. If someone becomes ill from a certain truck, where does the liability fall back on?
Well, waiving the license doesn't change the health department requirement, though. Yeah,
That's right. It doesn't. If you waive the
I think they would
license.
still need insurance without the itinerant merchant.
yeah.
And plus, the food truck has to have insurance too, am I right? Okay.
Right.
I would
What
move
about
to waive-
the itinerant merchant fee? Is that something council can waive? Or would just rather handle it the same way?
Still gonna run you.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that.
Okay, all right, all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't. What's the fee of the job?
$500.
$500.
$500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devin, can you
Yeah,
just?
they're
We're trying to
Business
do
license?
something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If people have business license, this is a mute point.
Right.
We don't need to be talking about it.
I'm looking for some way to get moving on here.
Well,
I think if they got the business license from somewhere else, and like Philip said, they can use it 4 times here, I mean, there's no need in arguing about it.
Somewhere else, they're entitled to operate
Right.
here.
They're probably going to have a business license, so we're
Right,
probably
so
talking
it's
about
no-
nothing. I'll make
I
a
think that's
motion
a
to
moot.
approve the event. And I would remove the limit of 2 food trucks if you can get more that are willing to donate their time for this matter, however many you see as appropriate, as long as they got business licenses. And with that motion, I'd also add that the town donate the collected meals tax back to the fire department for the described purposes.
So move.
Mr. Almond has moved to approve unlimited number of food trucks and to redistribute the meals tax collected back to the fire department. And Mr. Almond moved, let's see,
Miller.
yeah, you did it, Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller seconds. Is there any more discussion?
Would council, and I know we didn't ask for this, but would they be willing to donate $250 to this program as well to help feed people of the 22nd? Since the ultimate goal is the money is to go to feed our citizens during the holidays. To help them achieve
Well,
their goal.
I'll open the floor. Mr. Almond amend his motion. If he doesn't want to do so, then you can make a secondary.
That's why I'm asking.
You're asking for a $250 donation to the
Yeah,
cause?
to the
I mean,
cause.
if we have it in the discretionary line item, I don't have a problem with it, but I want to make sure that we have it there.
Do we have it?
So you guys have $18,000 in the Christmas bonus discretionary line. We never use the 18,000. We always use like 2,500. I think this year because the fire department's Christmas bonuses went up, I think it's double that, so it's like $5,800 is what they're requesting. So you have like $12,000 left.
I'll amend that motion to include $500 donation from the town, from that fire department discretion, or bonus discretionary fund.
Are you good with that,
I'm
Mr.
good
Miller?
with that. I'm good.
So this,
For
this
the holiday
mo-
meal.
this motion now has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor?
All this is in equal boundaries.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Is there any other discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0.
Did you get all that, Jennifer?
While you're up here, Captain, you'll give us a brief fire department
Yes,
report?
sir. Yes, sir. Well, first, thank you all. Thank you all for that. And then I will
Absolutely.
send the details
I
if you
think
all
it
would like
goes
to
without
attend.
saying, this council will fall over backwards to help this. And I think it's a great cause, and I hope you get a lot of support.
It means a lot. Thank you all so much.
And I'll do what I can, and I know everyone else, we talk it up. Let us know when the dates are, and
Yes, sir.
we'll talk it up and try to get some hungry people in there for you.
Yes, sir. And I'll send the flyers.
Could they give you some, could they put a banner?
Well, you gotta be,
We're gonna have a parade up at that time.
yeah,
We got a lot of banners at that.
we got a lot of banners to do with.
We've got this awesome sign in front of the fire station.
Okay, cool. That's a good place.
That's cool.
We talked about the traffic today with the manager, how many people go by there. That's a good place to advertise.
Absolutely.
All right, carry on with your report, Captain.
So, first, of course, I won't read it all word for word, but first and foremost, we recently had the Battle of the Badges softball tournament that we participated in. Extremely successful, fun event for everyone that has attended except for Chief Tomer. He was deemed the MVP. He was not in attendance for the end of the event. He was injured in action, but he seems to be on the mend now. December the 6th, we, of course, will be holding our annual Edgar Johnson Memorial Service. That's going to be at 6 p.m. I'd encourage you all to attend. That's right outside of Blackstone Volunteer Fire Department. Typically a 15, 20-minute event to honor currently our only line of duty death. Unfortunately, we did also attend the funeral of one of our auxiliary members, Miss Nikki Lester. She was a life member of the auxiliary, and she did pass away at the age of 50. Annually, typically in October, we go out and we inspect over 20 dry hydrants within our first due area. This year, of course, like every other, we went out and we were able to inspect those. We had 3 that were out of service. Of course, as reported to the Department of Forestry, and those were taken out of service and repaired. However, this is the second year in a row we had one that was vandalized by gunfire. So, of course, it's important for us to continue doing those checks. If none of us get to see you before Thanksgiving, hopefully we will. Chief Tomer, other members of Blackstone Volunteer Fire Department would like to wish you very happy holidays. We thank you all for your support and what you do. Of course, the last thing, we were able to vote on 2 new members this month. We are rising back to the 50s for our membership. So we thank you for your support. And, truthfully, I don't know if I could answer any questions for you this evening, but I will direct all those to Chief Tomer.
I have something for you, but members of council, y'all have anything for the captain? I want to apologize to a couple of your members. Last month, we had former Chief Walter McOsborne here. We had a presentation for him and his wife, and we didn't have one of y'all here to keep me straight, and I botched it. So last month, Mr. Philip Arms celebrated 45 years of service.
Yes, sir.
And Fire Chief Tomer, 33 years of service.
Yes, sir.
Please pass along my deepest apology and appreciation.
Yes, sir.
And if members of the audience would be so kind to help me to give him a fine round of applause. Thank you for all you're doing, and we wish you the very best as well.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor, if I may very
You may.
quickly add, and this may be something for Julian ultimately to work on, but the town of Blackstone has made an application, while you're here, has made application for an antenna or a radio aerial associated with the new radio system for emergency service that Nottoway is putting in. It's no cost to the town, but they selected a site that is on town property. So there's some zoning matters that are advertised, I think, Planning Commission on either December 2nd or the 5th, Jennifer?
The second.
December the 2nd.
December the 2nd. So we have a public hearing for a text amendment. But in doing so, since Nottoway County's equipment is going to be located on town property, I would like for the town to consider some sort of an agreement or an arrangement with the county about the maintenance of the equipment, the siting of the equipment, some sort of a lease arrangement or something like that. And I'll sit down with Buddy Hyde and with the county administrator and see if we can get a framework. And it doesn't need to be multiple pages. I think everybody's supportive, everybody's interested, but the equipment will be owned by Nottaway County, and it's intended to go on the town property. I think we just need to codify it somehow with maybe a one-page lease or memorandum of understanding.
Sounds good.
I do. I just want to say thank you all so much. I do have to run, but.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. I'd love to shake all your hands, but we'll talk soon.
Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Structure fire.
Now is the first of two times that members of the audience can come to the podium. There'll be another time at the end of the meeting following the police department report. Does anyone else like to come to the podium and speak before I move through this lengthy agenda? Members of council, you have before you two different batches of bills. The first batch of bills have been paid but need council's approval. They are in the amount of $879,028.32. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Allman seconds.
With the, everybody knowing the pass-through reimbursement is $823,000. It's not as daunting as what it sounds like.
Point out to you, the reason it's so much higher this month is that we've hit that line of credit, not only for some police cars, but we've also hit them with invoices for the armory. And you can see there's $355,000 of that amount is just us paying back when we receive those grant drawdowns.
455.
Pardon?
It's 455, 153 for citizens.
455, excuse me.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a little bit more than it typically is.
Well, Mr. Nash, I'm glad you pointed it out, and it's important for the audience to know that it's $55,000 that wasn't reimbursed. So it's a great point, Mr. Nash. Any other comments or questions about these bills? Mr. Nash has moved. Mr. Allman has seconded to approve this first batch of bills. May I have a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Gormas?
Aye.
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 This motion carries 7-0. Members of council, you have a second batch of bills that require both your approval and permission to pay. And these bills are in the amount of $148,804.77. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Mr. Nash has moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams is second. Is there any questions?
I have one under town fuel pumps, Mansfield Oil Company. How long does it go that we receive a bill for $15,000 for fuel? Is that every month? Is that every?
I was going to say
I would
close to
say
every month.
close to every month.
It's the fuel pumps on Church.
Correct.
The diesel and
And then obviously
unleaded.
that gets dispersed between every department that uses it.
I was just saying, because that's a lot of, decent amount of fuel. I was hoping that your answer was 2 to 3 months. But.
Every 2 to 3 months.
There's my easy button. I've been looking for my easy button. It's right out there. All right, any other questions or concerns?
I got a question here on this workforce housing. $1,000 for topsoil?
South Dilla Street, yes, sir. We had to finish dressing up the yard and getting the grass planted. And then part of the agreement, there was a change order where the contractor actually had to do that. And that Divine Builders is the same fellow that built the house, but this is outside the contract of the house. There was no topsoil on site, and so in order to get some grass to grow, he included some topsoil for us.
Dirt's expensive. I'm not trying to be funny. Dirt's expensive.
No.
Any other questions? Mr. Nash has moved. Ms. Williams is properly second to pay this second batch of bills in the amount of $148,804.77. Mr. Gormas, will you start off the roll call vote?
Aye.
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 That motion carries
I
7-0.
did miss one for Philip. Under cemetery, stake right away. What right away are we staking in the cemetery?
Oh, for the sign.
Oh,
Remember you
okay.
guys had authorized us to do the sign? If you go by the corner of 8th and College,
Yes.
you'll see 3 stops on the ground.
Okay.
And that's the extent of the right of way, so I know where to put the sign.
I was thinking within the cemetery.
No,
Sorry.
it was out there on the front corner.
Anything else? Very good, Mr. Nash. Members of council, you have in your packet 3 separate requests for budget appropriations. I'll ask Manager Van Orbeck to present them individually, and I'll be asking for 3 motions for your consideration. Mr. Manchin?
On the appropriations, Jackie, jump in if I get something wrong here. There are three appropriations. The first is $3,978 to appropriate funds being received through a TDO ECO reimbursement program, and that's when the officers have a temporary detention order, and they have to go to the hospital or a state facility or something with somebody who has an order having them being held so they can be observed, and an officer has to sit with them full time, and this is actually a reimbursement or a grant that was made available so that we could get some monies back. It actually funneled through Nottaway County, but we did receive some reimbursement for time for the officers to sit in a TDO situation, temporary detention order.
Council, if you don't mind, can we get a motion and then we'll have discussion? Motion for the first appropriation for $3,978.
So moved.
Mr. Page moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Council President Nash seconds. Is there any discussion? Ask for roll call vote. Mr. Gormas?
Aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Item number 2, Mr. Manager.
Oh, and just to say, the police department, I think they intend on using it for some uniforms, put in their uniform line item. Community development, that $10,000. If you remember J-Cause Engineering, which is a firm from Temecula, California, we ate lunch last week, and they are definitely coming. They've purchased a home in the community, and they will be opening at Planter's Warehouse in the month of December. And I'm sure when I say opening, I don't know full manufacturing, but they will be on-site working. And this $10,000, I know the appropriation has slipped by me, and I apologize, but the appropriation says a grant. That's actually a grant to us that's being given to him as a loan, so you're aware. But it's Tobacco Commission money that they've already paid us, and this is payable back by J-Cause Engineering back to the town. And then we, in turn, send it back to the Tobacco Commission. The $10,000 grant that he received from the Tobacco Commission will be payable upon performance. Okay? So the loan is up front. The grant is on the backside. And this is, we've received that $10,000, which is a loan to J-Cause, which is provided by the Tobacco Commission.
Is there a motion to approve?
I got a question.
Let's get a motion then.
Okay.
So moved.
Mr. Nash moves and Mr. Allman seconds. Mr. Miller, you have the floor.
Has he told you anything about what, when he's gonna start hiring, or is he,
Well, like I
or
said-
who's he coordinating with?
He's actually doing it through the state. The package that he received from the state was $100,000 cash from the state as a grant, $25,000 of training, education, hiring, personnel acquisition, that sort of thing, or valued at $25,000. It would be coordinated by the state, and then the Tobacco Commission put a $10,000 grant and a $10,000 loan. Has he given me a definitive date? He has not, but I've got a desk full of resumes that people have handed me to provide to him when he gets here.
Okay, so now you taking the resumes or what?
I don't think formally, just people that I know have questions, and hey, if you know so-and-so, I said, give me a resume, I'll pass it on to them, but nothing formal at this time. He'll announce that when he's formally accepting applications and that sort of thing.
Any other questions?
What's the question, Mr. Miller?
That's not cool.
That's not cool.
Because they're gonna say that if they give them to you, they might think that they might think, hey, they got an inside step in.
Who's they?
Whoever gave you the application. You understand what I'm saying?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
What I'm saying is, okay, you were getting the applications. You give to this guy.
Right.
So how's Tom, Joe, and Harry gonna know about it?
When it's advertised?
Their resumes, and
Regularly.
he's saying that they may feel that they're getting the upper hand.
Right. With the
Because
resume.
they gave you theirs personally.
I'll
ahead
burn
of
them.
time.
I'll burn my nephews. I'll throw it out. If that makes you feel better, Mr. Miller,
Careful.
I'd be more than happy to do that.
Careful.
Yeah, I'll throw it out.
Any other discussion?
Call for the question.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Allman second to appropriate the second item of $10,000.
I have one more question. This isn't part of the original appropriation we did when we approved the agreement, made the appropriation for the $10,000 match?
I can double check, but I don't believe it is because we hadn't received that money. We haven't appropriated all those funds, but only that $10,000 physically been received. That's all we received of it.
Sorry about that.
Any other questions? Mr. Gormas, would you lead us off in the roll call?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Appropriation number 3, the airport.
$8,360 in appropriation for concrete work that was associated with the installation by Beta Technologies of the, like a drainage system of Valley Gutter. And that was the actual amount charged to the town, which we turned over to the contractor, or to the contractors that installed the electric charging station there, and they reimbursed us for it. So that money had been paid out for work done at the airport, and the contractors reimbursed us for it.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Alderman moves, Mr. Nash seconds. Is there any discussion? Mr. Gormas, you're up.
Aye.
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 That motion carries 7-0. We good? You need a recess? We good? Next up is committee reports. Chair Lady Williams and her Building and Property and Cemetery Committee met on October 28th to discuss economic development prospects that hadn't been previously announced, and did so in closed session. Madam Chair, would you care just move forward at this time and take it up in closed session?
Yes.
So noted. Second committee report is Street and Light. On November 6th, Chairman Miller and his committee met. Would Chairman Miller or Manager Van Orbeck care to report?
I think we're going to discuss a little bit more tonight in closed session. We did have a ward meeting for Ward A individuals. I think Mr. Miller had invited, we had handed out some flyers and that sort of thing, so that was last Wednesday. And heard from some of the residents in the neighborhood. And I think tonight we have on schedule to meet with, or to discuss the topic of those buildings and the results of those RFPs. And discussion really is limited to when and how you want to advertise, or if you want to advertise a public hearing, which is required for the disposal of any property.
All right, I believe we need to ratify the BAB suspension of service.
Oh, in the Street and Light Committee.
I'm looking at Street and Light.
Oh, I thought we were still in Building and Grounds.
No, we moved on to Street and Light.
Street and Light?
I'm sorry.
We have an individual who's been abusing the drivers, and we had a report again today of the same individual. I've met with him along with the police department. We have several of the employees that work at the office that are concerned about this particular individual. We had another event with him yesterday in Petersburg. Our current suspension of service policy applies to the drivers, and this is really a recommendation or a request to include the other employees, the ladies that actually work in the office, from having people call up and yell at them, curse at them, that sort of thing. And Alex is here to explain more, but it broadens the scope or broadens the number of people who this policy would apply to, not just the drivers.
Members of council, you've heard the manager's report. Is there a motion to approve the suspension of service?
Move to approve.
Mr. Alderman moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Miller seconds. Is there any discussion?
I will say, being on that committee and seeing the presentation and preparation, it's very well in order, and I think it's very fair across the board the way it's presented.
I agree 100%. You're correct.
And
Thank you for speaking up.
And as I said before, this young lady is really doing a good job at the West Shop. She's working to get everything done, and if you need help, we'll try to help you.
Any more discussion?
I just can't, I have a concern, and I don't have any problems with any of this. If people are being rude on the bus or causing a problem, we're taking care of it. What I got a problem with, and Julian, you can answer, and I might be able to get over this. What's the legality of somebody calling the government, complaining, and they don't like it, and they suspend them from the bus? I got a problem with that. I think people are allowed to call and give their concerns. Sometimes it's not always pleasant, but that's their freedom of speech. I'm not sure that we could retaliate, suspend them off the bus for that. Can we do that, Julian?
Which section are you talking
Yeah,
about?
which are you talking about?
He said it covered phone calls.
Yeah, where on here are you talking about?
He said it covered phone calls to the office.
He said
We're
what?
talking about discourteous treatment and language towards
Just
riders,
right.
bus
If
operators, and
somebody calls the
dispatchers.
office up there and talks to, orders a bus or whatever they're doing, and they're rude to the ladies, we're gonna suspend them off the bus?
I don't
got a
think-
problem with that.
I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem, what we're talking about, is the actual ridership on the bus, right?
Yes, but he said this policy includes phone calls to the office.
I don't see it in the policy. Do you?
That's what's been going on, is the individual calls up to the office and curses at the
That's-
lady.
I think if they're on the bus and they're causing a problem, I'm fine. I got a problem with the phone calls.
So obscenity is not covered